When we talk about computer system validation, or CSV, there's this hidden time thief lurking in the process. It's an absolutely critical step, especially in regulated industries, but there's a huge bottleneck that quietly eats up hours and hours on every single project. Today, we're going to drag that problem into the light and look at a really powerful way to fix it with automation.
So let me just ask you this, especially if you've ever been deep in the trenches on a validation project. How much of your time just evaporates into thin air doing the mind-numbing task of taking screenshots for evidence? Seriously, think about it. All those clicks, all that saving and renaming and pasting? If you're nodding along right now, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
All right, let's give this problem a name. We're calling it the validation bottleneck. This is that exact point where progress for so many amazing teams just slows to a crawl because they're buried under a mountain of tedious manual documentation.
So, what is computer system validation, really? Well, at its core, it's the formal process of proving that a system does exactly what you designed it to do every single time, without fail. But the key word here, the one that causes all the headaches, is documenting. That's where the trouble really starts.
Let's really break down this manual process because it's a crazy loop. For every single test step, you have to perform the action, stop what you're doing, manually take a screenshot, save the file somewhere, come up with a logical name for it, paste it into your Word doc, and then write a description. That's a 6-step cycle that you repeat hundreds, maybe even thousands of times.
And here's the real kicker. Each one of those little cycles can take anywhere from 1 to 2 minutes. Now that doesn't sound like much, does it? But when you multiply that by the hundreds of test steps in a typical project, the hours just vanish.
But what if you could just shatter that repetitive cycle? Well, that brings us to the solution we're going to dig into today, a tool called Royal Snap A.
So, what is it? Put simply, Royal Snap As is a validation documentation automation tool. Its whole reason for existing is to take over that painstaking manual screenshot process. It automatically grabs the evidence while you're testing and pops it right into your validation documents for you.
And this is absolutely crucial. It's not just some generic screen capture tool. No, this was built from the ground up for regulated environments. It supports all the key compliance standards you care about, like 21 CFR Part 11 and GAMP 5. That means your automated evidence is audit-ready the second it's created.
And the versatility here is pretty impressive. It really doesn't matter what you're validating. A massive ERP system like SAP, a LIMS, a QMS, web apps, even PLC systems. The core principle of automating that documentation pain point works across pretty much the entire tech landscape in modern industry.
Okay, now for the part I think you'll really like, the direct comparison. Let's look at how this automation completely transforms the workflow. We're talking about shrinking a process that takes minutes down to just a few seconds.
I mean, look at this. The difference is just night and day. On the left, you've got that chaotic 6-step manual dance we talked about, taking 1 or 2 minutes every single time. And on the right, the new process, perform your step and press a single snap button. That's it. You're done. You just went from 6 steps down to 2 and from minutes down to maybe 5 or 10 seconds.
So, what's the magic happening behind that one button press? Well, in the background, the tool is instantly capturing the screen, automatically naming the file based on a standard convention you set, and inserting it directly into the right spot in your test protocol. It handles all that tedious administrative busy work for you.
This all sounds fantastic on paper, but what does it actually mean for a real project with real deadlines? Let's talk about the actual, tangible, real-world impact you get from this kind of automation.
Let's just start with this one big number, 70 to 80%.
Yeah. That represents the total reduction in time your team has to spend on documentation. Just by getting rid of those manual steps, teams are seeing a massive drop in the time it takes to create their validation evidence. That's not just an improvement, that's a total game changer.
Let's make this even more real. Take a pretty typical OQ, an operational qualification, with about 200 test steps. Done manually, documenting all that would take a skilled professional about 6 hours of their day. With Royal Snap E, it's done in an hour and a half. On just one pretty small task, you just got 4.5 hours of your life back. Now scale that across an entire project.
And the benefits go so much deeper than just speed. Yeah, the validation cycle is way faster, but your evidence is also perfectly standardized and ready for any audit. You basically eliminate human error.
No more saving the wrong screenshot or messing up a file name. This all leads to much higher quality documentation with automatic traceability just built right in.
So, who are the real winners when this kind of shift happens? Let's look at the specific roles that get completely transformed when you automate the documentation grind.
I mean, this is a no-brainer for the folks on the front lines. CSV and automation engineers, QA teams, IT groups in pharma and biotech, but it becomes a secret weapon for consultants who are constantly juggling multiple high-pressure validation projects all at once.
And this is where the advantage becomes truly strategic. For a consultant or a manager leading a big team, this isn't just about saving a few hours here and there. It means you can deliver entire projects 30 to 40% faster. That is a huge competitive edge out in the marketplace.
So I'll just leave you with this final thought. What would it mean for your company, for your team, if you could speed up project delivery by up to 40%? What could your most talented people accomplish if they were freed from the drudgery of screenshots and could focus on more critical, high-value work? That, right there, is the true promise of smart automation.